Describe myself in a single sentence. I've never been asked that question before. I'd like to think I am a man who lives true to his imperatives and a privileged man. I wouldn't put myself as anything more than that. I'm a privileged man who says what he means and means what he says.
Okay. So you did an interview with James English a year ago, and taking this line from it, verbatim, and you said, "I will state right now, I'm absolutely sexist and I'm absolutely a misogynist, and I have money, and you can't take it away." I wondered if that's still the case, if you meant it then, if you would say the same thing now.
Well, the problem is that these terms no longer have any value. These terms have been devalued by the ever-changing goalposts. So now you're a sexist and a misogynist if you're semi-realistic, right? If you're a realist in any form, then you're going to be labeled a sexist. And anyone who disagrees with that has never been dealing or battling the extreme feminism narrative that I have. If you say simple things like men are physically stronger than women or women are more empathetic than men, on average, they try and talk about exceptions disproving the rule. They try and find the one single woman who's strong and try and say, well, no, that's not true. Exceptions don't disprove the rule. And then they call you sexist. So those terms have absolutely no value. And I would claim that nearly every man alive is a sexist and a misogynist under these ridiculous new terms, including you, my friend. You're probably a sexist if you talk to these people. These extreme feminists are, they label absolutely every single man, just because you're born a man, to some degree misogynistic and sexist for existing.
So one thing that I'm unsure about, if you look at your videos on YouTube, there are plenty of comments below which say, Andrew's really helped me. I'm sure you get messages saying the same thing. And yeah. I'm guessing these are from men, 18, 25, 30, whatever it is. So let's assume there is some value in the advice you give. Why does it have to include women? Why does it have to include things like women belong to a man or plenty of other
Good question. Good question. And it doesn't. It absolutely and utterly doesn't. But a lot of young men, especially, in fact, all men of all ages, their biggest struggle is inside of their relationships, with women. And I think that a man and a woman who are in love and a happy partnership is the best thing for the world. I think men are happiest when they have a woman who truly loves them and respects them. And I think women are the same when they have a man who they truly look up to and who loves them back. I think that people are meant to be together, men and women. I think we're slightly different, but we're a very, very powerful team. So when you want to talk about depression and how to create a fantastic life as a man or a woman, you also have to talk about relationships. We're not individualistic animals, we're social animals, and relationships are a big key part of it. I could avoid the subject altogether, of course, but I didn't expect to become the most famous man in the world by saying that when a woman marries a man, she takes his last name. I mean, that's all I ever said. And then people are taken out of context saying that woman belongs to the man and Andrew's abusive and a bunch of the woman takes the man's last name. That's a common fact. And like I said, these people have changed the goalposts. They're not realistic anymore. And by extension, absolutely everybody on the planet, including you, my friend, including you, to these people is the enemy. Now, I'm the one they've chosen to try and chop my head off as the leader, but they're coming for all of us. And we either all hang together or we hang one by one. But if you want to sit there and say that I believe my woman, when she marries me, should take my last name because I'm proud of my last name as a man, then you are evil now in the modern world.
I mean, you've obviously blown up in the last 12, 18 months. If you could go back to before that time, would you do anything differently?
I don't know. I don't know if you can appease these people, because the reason we've got to this stage is the endless appeasement. The endless appeasement has allowed them to keep inching more and more and more forward. You give them an inch, they take 10 miles. And now we're in a position where I'm saying things that are standard across all of human time. They've been standard in the Western world until 10 years ago. They're standard across the majority of the planet still today. Like, I can give you 100 examples, but let's stick to the same one. A woman takes a man's last name when they get married. And this is normal everywhere. And it was normal in the West a few years ago. And these people are losing their minds. So do you think you can appease people like that? Do you think you can appease a psychopath? You tell me. I don't think you can. These people are just on a mission to try and find something to be offended by and trying to find somebody to attack. These are hateful people who pretend they care about the world, but they don't care about the world. They just want to find people they don't like and find a reason to attack them. They don't have any concern for women. They're not concerned that bad things might happen to women. Absolute people who are sitting in their room all day on the internet, trolls, trying to find somebody who is objectively more successful than them in every single human metric and attacking him. And the way you do that, when someone is more successful than you, bigger than you, smarter than you, stronger than you, richer than you, all you can do is try and pretend he's a bad person. Well, if he's not a bad person, then you have to change the goalposts and change the definition of what a bad person is. So that's what they do. And then they attack. And then the media machine, because they're looking for clicks, jumps on board and perpetuates this garbage and helps them feel powerful, which encourages them and emboldens them. We live in a world now where these hate mobs have a lot of power and they're out here to destroy innocent people in real time. And it's genuinely dangerous.
I know at the moment you're banned from most social media platforms. I'm sure you're looking into that, but regardless of what happens with that, let's say in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, how will history judge you?
I'm in the middle of a hero's arc. I'm in the middle of a redemption story. The human psyche is very, very familiar with it. It's in the Bible, it's in the Quran, it's in every single superhero movie in history. The guy who you think is the bad guy turns out to be the guy that everybody needs, and he was misunderstood. I'm certainly already seen as a good man. If you look at the comments on any of my videos, they're 99% positive. The people I meet on the street are positive. I've never had a negative interaction on the street. Absolutely everybody loves me outside of a very vocal minority, which, like I said, is supported by the media class who are trying to pretend that there's people offended by what I say when there really isn't. In general, I'm absolutely not really adored. And across time, that's just going to become a stronger and stronger sentiment where people understand that I've been unfairly treated. And like I said, a very vocal minority have talked a bunch of bollocks. And I'm going to be loved and revered for the things I've done. I'm a positive force for the world. That's all I'm ever told. And I truly believe that to be true.
Are you really a trillionaire?
Good question. That would make me the world's first, right? I said I was a trillionaire. No, I'm not a trillionaire. I'm going to give it up and admit I'm not actually a trillionaire fiscally. I do believe I'm one of the richest people on the planet, not just because of money, because I have so much money that money doesn't mean anything. So I don't really need more. But I also have a very, very loving family. I'm blessed with the people I know, a strong brotherhood, a healthy body, a strong mind. I have everything I could ever hope for. There's nothing I would change about my life or myself. And I think even most rich people wish they could be a different person to some degree or wish they had something they don't have. I can't say that. I believe I have absolutely everything. My life is perfect. So for that reason, I consider myself the richest man on the planet. And that's why I said I was a trillionaire.
So given all that, why not just slip into the shadows and live your happy life?
That's certainly an option. Certainly something I've been considering. It's something that is still on the table. If I decide to do so, I could do that. But all in all, I think that part of me is motivated by the inclination to help people, but I wouldn't say I'm purely a philanthropist. I think that men who become successful in life are men who are quite domineering, and I like to have an opinion on things. I like to say it. People like to listen. And as long as people want to listen to me, I'm prepared to talk. If that changes, then I'll stop. But people really want to listen to what I say, and social media companies banning me hasn't changed that. In fact, it's amplified it. And when hundreds of thousands of people are desperate to hear what you have to say, it's kind of tempting to tell them. You know, it's like, Andrew, what do you think on this? When millions of people want to know your opinion on something, you're like, well, I may as well give it to you. Like if you go down the pub with your friends, you're going to give your opinion on what you think, and they're going to listen. Millions of people respect me and respect my opinions. So for that reason, I like to indulge.
Okay, so I'm a boxing journalist. So let's talk about fighting. You know, you tend to refer to you as an ex-kickboxer, given that we write about sport. What was the attraction of kickboxing? Did it have any impact on what you have gone on to do?
Yeah, so I literally went to the kickboxing gym. It was actually an MMA gym, but I ended up doing kickboxing because I was a better stand-up fighter. I had some MMA fights, but there was more money in kickboxing at the time because K1 was big and its Showtime was big and there was more money. But it was the closest gym to me. That's the reason I went, by coincidence. Like if the gym was boxing, I would have been a boxer. It's just, it was the closest gym to me. I had no car. I had to run to the gym. So I chose one that was within running distance. It certainly shaped my entire life and my entire worldview. I dedicated an entire decade to it. I'm glad I did it. I can't think of any better use of masculine youth than combat. It's a fantastic way to stay focused, stay in fantastic shape, and teach you everything about the world, both mentally and also put you in a strong physical position. So yeah, I was a 4-time world champion, 87 fights. It was my life for a very, very long time. And I still consider myself pretty dangerous today.
One of your, I think, maybe your fourth last opponent, 2016, Ibrahim El Bustati. I think
Yeah.
the fight was stopped in the first round. He claims you faked an eye injury to get out of the fight.
Well, I was beating him, so why would I fake an eye injury? He is desperate for clout because I was on path to destroy him. I was beating him. I unfortunately had an eye injury, and then ever since he's been having his ass kicked. He's just lost to everybody. I was going to be the first man who destroyed him. And now that I'm globally famous, he just wants to be said in the same sentence as me because he's a nobody. So he's not a relevant individual.
Do you still have problems with your eye?
Yeah, I had some eye issues. I've had a couple surgeries, but so far so good. It's okay. So I can see. That's what's important.
There's been a lot of talk about you fighting various social media people. Are you serious about fighting, or is this just a way to remain relevant?
No, I'm absolutely not really serious. It's just a matter of making sure the deal's done correctly. I'm not going to allow any of these social media clowns to pretend they're the A side of a negotiation when I'm the most famous man on the planet. They do not deserve more money than me. In fact, it's the opposite. If they don't fight me, they fight bums. KSI won't fight me because he's afraid. He just recently tweeted this morning that I'm too big for him after calling me out because I said yes. So he said my name, I said yes, and then he made an excuse. Logan and Jake are obviously on the cards. There's someone else we're talking about. I think perhaps more Logan than Jake. But there's options. I mean, I don't need money and I don't need credibility, and I'm going to stay relevant for eternity. I'm going to be the most relevant voice for the masculine youth for the rest of human time. And banning me on social media has not changed that. So for me to fight, it's not about money and it's not about credibility. It's a personal decision because there's somebody I want to hurt. And there's a lot of talk going on at the moment with a lot of different names.
Okay, let's talk about Logan Paul. I think before you were banned, he said he had a video with Mike and they were in the street, and he said, you know, it seemed like it was a possibility. Since you were banned, he's come out and said he disagrees with everything you say. What do you make of his change of stance?
Oh, well, Logan Paul's bought and sold. Logan Paul's not allowed to have individualistic thought. Logan Paul is a talking piece for the Matrix. He's given a piece of paper and told what to think, and he repeats it. He's a parrot, a clown who's afraid of getting canceled because he was canceled once before and couldn't stop crying on TV. So he's not allowed his own opinion. So someone has told him what to say, and he says it because he has no soul and no morals.
Jake Paul seems to be, he doesn't necessarily seem to agree with everything you say, but at least has been he was a conduit for your final message, at least appears to support free speech. Do you have different feelings towards him than you do Logan?
Absolutely. Jake seems to be a person who is focused on his boxing career and is making his own money and isn't scared of getting canceled from a YouTube channel. He has a genuine career that he's taken seriously. Logan needs the algorithm to favor him, and he needs his little YouTube channel or he has nothing. So yeah, Jake is telling the truth about what he believes. Logan obviously believes the same thing, but because he's bought and sold like a coward, he's not allowed to say it.
There was a picture of you and your brother and Jake's manager the other week. Can you tell me anything about what was discussed, what took place?
Can't tell you, but I can tell you his manager is a really nice guy, really smart guy. Nothing bad to say. But obviously, like you said, I'm close and I'm talking to that side of camps, and there's a lot of conversations going on.
What can we expect in terms of an announcement date? When are you are you training? Give me something.
That's a good question. Like I said, there's a lot of different things to take into consideration. It's a matter of whether this is to make money. It's a matter of whether it's personal. It's a matter of principles in regards to A side, B side. It's a matter of where the fight's going to take place. Like it's quite complicated. All that can be said is that I am a man who is open to fight. As long as the universe puts the right pieces in play, then I will be in the ring and I'll be kicking the shit out of somebody, and I will absolutely and utterly win. All these YouTube boxers look at me and they go, he's old and he smokes cigars all the time, etc. They massively underestimate me, which is good. That's why they're stupid enough to take the fight. So if I fight any of these people, I have a fight IQ and experience levels that they're not prepared for, and I will destroy them.
You mentioned your eye. Would you be confident enough that you would be past fit to fight by a governing body?
Yeah, I'd be past fit. That's fine. And my eye wouldn't be a problem because I wouldn't get hit. So it's no problem.
You mentioned KSI. He did call you out after his couple of fights the other week, and now, as you said, you are too heavy. I'm always wary about saying people are scared to fight. I know KSI is not necessarily a real boxer in those terms, but I think most fighters are rarely scared to fight. They have different reasons. Do you honestly believe that he's scared to fight you?
Well, look at his last fights. Do you call those fights, my friend? You're a professional. Do you call those fights?
No.
Exactly. And he doesn't want a real fight. He wants to make money off his fans, scam them all, and waste everybody's time. He knows with me it's a real fight, and he doesn't want a real fight. Why would you take a real fight when you can beat up idiots for millions? He's not interested in a real fight. That's why he doesn't want to fight me, because he will get hurt badly, one. And two, all of his is over when he can continue to fight trash cans for cash. It doesn't make sense for him to fight me. I'm realistic. I know what he's saying and why he's saying it. It doesn't make any sense for him to fight me because he's gonna get destroyed and all his game is over. Why not just beat up idiots and sell it to YouTubers? I get what he's doing. Fair play. He's making a bunch of money. I have nothing against the guy. I mean, he spoke a bunch of about me getting banned, but once again, he's afraid of being canceled. Once again, he's somebody who's bought and sold and owned. But he doesn't want to fight me. That's the end of his shit. If he fights me.
Okay, so let's say KSI refuses to fight. Let's say Logan Paul sticks to his guns. Let's say Jake Paul's busy with Anderson Silva and something else. Who else is out there? Anyone?
It's a good question. I don't think there's anyone else really anybody's interested in seeing me fight because everyone knows I'll beat them all. But I don't know. We'll see. I have a lot of names thrown at me in real time. Things change, and I'm open to anyone and everyone. So let's see.
Any possibility that you and your brother would fight on the same card?
Sure. It's a big, beautiful world. Anything could happen, bro. Why not?
Okay. Well, we'll leave it there, Andrew. Appreciate your time. And hopefully,
bro, appreciate your time. Thank you very, very much.